We are going to do a demonstration of a Neubie treatment with Kara. Thank you for being here with us.
Of course.
So can you just let us know a little bit about your history, what you have going on?
Sure. So I have 2 disc herniations at L4, L5, and L5S1.
Okay.
And then I also have some facet joint arthritis as a result of those disc degenerations.
Okay. And when we were talking before this, you mentioned that forward bending or flexion was the most painful.
Yeah.
So can you just show us now your maximum pain-free range of motion until it starts to hurt?
So I start to feel it. It starts to hurt right around there.
Okay.
More so on the right side.
Okay. So we got that initial range of motion marked. Your hands are right about at your knees.
Yeah.
And then this is something that's fairly chronic for you, and there's some ups and downs, right?
Mm-hmm. It happened. I found out about the herniations probably 5 or 6 years ago. So it kind of ebbs and flows. Sometimes it's a little bit more, acts up a little bit more, and sometimes it's less. But I'm pretty much always at a baseline pain level of like a 4 or a 5.
And what is the pain level? Is about that 4 or 5?
Yeah, about that right now.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do the treatment.
Okay.
To begin our treatment, we're going to place 1 electrode on her upper back, just kind of out of the way of where we'll be scanning. And this is going to serve as our electrical ground. So, of course, in order to have an electrical circuit, we need to have 2 points of contact. And the other one is going to be this conductive carbon fiber electrode with a wet sponge. We're going to use this to scan around and map her body and send these input signals from all the different muscles, different segments of muscles, different areas that we're scanning, sending inputs as if these muscles are actually being loaded, being challenged. Wherever they're up to the challenge, it won't be threatening, and it'll be easy for her to handle. It'll feel pleasant. And if we find any spots where those muscles are not up to the challenge, or where there's those protective patterns where she's trying to limit the output in that particular area, as we load and challenge that area, that's perceived as threatening, and she's going to have a reaction where it's going to feel a lot more intense to her. So what we're going to do, Kara, is we're going to scan around and we're going to basically look for spots where it feels kind of like a trigger point, where it's just more intense or more uncomfortable, even though the current is the same to you. And that's going to help us know where the underlying problems are and where we need to work today.
Okay. So
I'm going to turn it up here first until it feels to you like a 3 or a 4 out of 10. So it's nice and pleasant. It's, about as much as you can handle, where it's still totally comfortable, not at all unpleasant. All right, feel that coming on there?
Yes.
All right, good.
Probably there.
Okay.
It's a little bit uncomfortable.
Okay, a little bit uncomfortable, so I'll back down. I'll back down a point there. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, so what would you call that if you had to put a number on it?
Probably a 4.
Okay, we're at a 4 out of 10. So we're going to scan around. I want to see if there's any spots that jump up to like a 6 or 7 or 8. So we're looking for that contrast. Any spots that feel more intense to you, even though the current's the same.
Okay.
So I'm going to begin by scanning up and down your spine here.
A little bit more intense there.
Okay. So we got that
Maybe
upper.
a 6.
Got to a 6 on the upper lumbar spine. On the left side.
Yeah, it's probably a 7. It's a little worse on the right.
A little worse on the right. Same level, upper lumbar on the right side. I'm going to come out to the obliques.
A little bit more there, but not terrible. I
Okay.
guess maybe a 5 or 6.
Okay. A little bit there, but not as bad as along the spine. Come to the right obliques.
Same as the other side.
Okay. A little elevated from baseline, but not as bad as the lumbar. So far, these are our front runners, first place. We'll check the glute muscles next. So glute max, not too bad. Piriformis, not too bad. Glute medius.
That's painful. That's probably like an 8.
Ooh, an 8. Okay, so definitely a priority there so far. There's that glute max. It contracted a little bit, but that wasn't
surprising.
Okay. So there's some contraction. You can hit a motor point to have some contraction, but what we're looking for is a real reaction that's different from that, and they'll feel
right
subjectively. Okay.
Right in there for sure.
Same thing, glute medius on the other side. So
Yeah.
7 or 8 on that side also.
Yeah, 8.
8. Okay. So far, definitely glute medius on both sides, and then the lumbar erectors on both sides as well. Let's check the hamstrings.
there.
Okay. Number there?
7.
Okay. 7 on that lower right hamstring. Not too bad on the left?
Not as bad on the left.
Okay. Okay. So we've got some spots so far. Ideally, if we're doing a full treatment, especially the first time you're working with a new patient, it is valuable to scan the whole body because you can pick up all the issues that they've had. Sometimes you'll remind them of old injuries that they've had, but you can also help them and find even new ways to be of service. And you'll just have all the pieces of information that you might need in order to craft the appropriate plan. For now, I think we have enough to go on, so we'll just continue our search on the front side and for demonstration purposes here. Let me have you roll over, please, onto your back. Okay, so we're going to check the thighs, from the hips and the abdomen next. I'll start on this thigh.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, number
like
there?
7.
7, okay.
Yeah, right in the belly of the quad.
Okay. Adductor, no big deal.
Not as bad. VMO 9.
Ooh, VMO, ooh. So what was worse? VMO worse even than the belly of that quad there?
Yes, VMO worse than the quad.
Okay. You come to this side. We'll go to that belly of the quad there.
Probably at a 6, not as bad as on the right side.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, definitely probably like 7.5, 8.
7.5, 8. Okay. So worse on the VMO on that side.
Worse on the VMO on both sides.
Outside of the thigh,
No.
no big deal. Okay. Let's check the abdomen. Okay, a little ticklishness, which is a type of protective reaction, but doesn't seem like it's nearly as severe as some of those that were, painful 8s, 9s.
Nothing terrible. No.
Okay. On the front of the hip, and then the TFL. No big deal there. Same thing on this side.
A little bit right on that TFL on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Number there.
It's like a deep bone kind of pain. Maybe like a 7.
Okay. Is it like similar to that when we get out of that glute medius?
More in the bone and shooting.
Okay.
So my
So 7 there, whereas the more around the glute medius was like an
glute
8,
medius was
8
worse.
or 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we've got the spots on the lumbar spine. We got the glute medius, and then we've got probably next are the VMO, definitely. Maybe the quads. You did have a little bit on your right hamstring, but that wasn't as bad as anything on the quads either, right?
Probably right hamstring was comparable to quad, but VMO was definitely worse.
Okay. All right. So we have this process that we'll, teach you, of course, if you're ever using a Neubie, of trying to figure out based on what's the most intense, and then what, if any, asymmetries there are. We want to weigh these two things and go through this process of sifting through where we want to work and prioritizing of all the spots that we found, where we're going to work first to try to create the most meaningful inputs and create the biggest changes. And so for her, we're going to actually start the treatment now, and we'll treat the spots that we found. For today, we'll start with the low back bilaterally, glute medius bilaterally, and then we'll do the quads bilaterally here. So we'll use eight pads on you, and we'll get started.
Okay.